Hello and welcome to the Varsity Club Lacrosse Podcast, your go-to source for all things club lacrosse. Today, what we're going to do is basically introduce ourselves, and we also have an interview with a couple of champions from the University of Dayton, Matthew Cesario and Tucker Hoffmann. And we're going to discuss the newest MCLA news. All right, guys, so to start out, my name is Brian Plunkett-Lopez, and with me, my co-host,
Sam Criscola. Thank you for having me, Brian.
Dude, of course. It's a pleasure. All right, for our first segment, Sam, who are you, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Brian, I'd like to start off by saying I said thank you for having me, as in you were the host. I am also co-host to let everybody know here. Me and Brian are starting this off, just trying to see what we can get to click. This is both of our first times doing a podcast, so a little tricky. But we're figuring things out. Might not be the greatest first episode or second, but we're getting the kinks out. So I appreciate you guys all following along. Also trying to look at the camera here and not my screen. Trying to figure that part out too.
That's
so
so hard,
appreciate that.
man.
It is
so
not
hard.
easy. But everyone, I appreciate you being here. My name is Sam Criscola. I went to Sherwood High School, graduated in 2017, where then I went on to play at the University of Oregon for 5 years. I've been playing lacrosse since 7th grade, where I switched to baseball because it was too boring. I know a lot of you will appreciate that. Playing at Oregon, I started sophomore year on. COVID kind of hurt things, so I had to take a 5th year. But junior, senior year, I was vice president of the team, also captain. So I got to see ins and outs of the team and how to manage that and what that was like. Senior year when I was president, it was COVID. So that was a lot of just talking to people every day, trying to make sure we could get a practice in that day. So that was very interesting. Graduated in 2022. And since then, I've been living at home in Sherwood, which has been an absolute blast. Got my minimum wage job going. So we're doing that. It's going all right. And then I've got coaching going on. So I'm coaching at Central Catholic, which is in Oregon. It's a high school. And then I'm coaching Team Oregon, which is a club team. Just finished that with my 3rd and 4th graders. I was in Bend this last weekend and did not wear any sunscreen. My neck looks like it is painted. Top of my feet are burned, but it was definitely worth it. Absolutely pumped to be on this podcast. There's some shout outs I'll give out in a little bit, but huge shout outs to the Varsity Club Lacrosse guys for making this podcast, because this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Would have been awesome to have this a lot earlier while I was playing, but I totally appreciate them putting in the work to get MCLA some exposure. So that was me. Now, Brian, I would love to hear about you.
Yeah. So my name is Brian Plunkett. Was born and raised from Virginia, right outside DC. We like to say Northern Virginia. Nothing wrong against Southern, but there might be a lot wrong with Southern Virginia.
Sure.
I picked up lacrosse. We have a very different background with lacrosse. So I picked up lacrosse my freshman year of high school because some of my buddies were playing. It was off season of football. And I was like, do you know what? I like hitting people. Why not continue to do that, but with a pole? So I played my freshman year and then played D-pole. Then basically just played intramurals in high school just because that was more fun. Didn't want to take it more seriously and tried to focus on football more. And then I went to Purdue, where I didn't even know that MCLA existed for my first 2 years there. So hopefully this podcast can be something that introduces the MCLA to a bunch of other up-and-coming kids and recruits and kind of pave the way and learn the process of what it takes to be a part of the MCLA team, and whether that's just having a lot of fun and kind of being a beer league, or it's actually being really intense and being super organized and trying to win a championship. So once I went to Purdue, I tried to play D-pole, was clearly not athletic enough or skilled enough. So I was like, do you know what? Let me try D-mid and basically try my best to, be an All-American hype man. So that's kind of my experience. I graduated Purdue in 2018. I got a background in industrial engineering. Now I'm out in Los Angeles. I am an actor, very different than my industrial engineering degree. But I was a regional sales engineer in Houston. That was so much fun.
Yeah, I was
Love
gonna
corporate
say.
life. The 9
Yeah,
to 5 traveling. Great benefits though.
absolutely.
But now, we're just in Los Angeles pursuing your dreams and making everything work. Can't really complain. And I just want to spread the word of MCLA lacrosse. That is me. And let's
So,
go.
Brian, I just got to ask,
Mhm.
um, are you striking right now? Are you picketing with the Writers Guild of America?
Yes. So I am not even skilled enough to be in the union. So it doesn't affect me.
Yes,
So
that's
all
awesome.
the non-union casting directors out there,
Hmm.
I mean, I have a website. Check it out.
Yep, there we go.
Brian-Plunkett.com. But no, the strike is a great thing. It's all unions out there. Everyone should have a certain amount of benefits coming in for their organizations, and hopefully this will benefit thousands of people to come.
Yep, I'm with you guys, or them, however that works. Yep.
Right. One day. But back to lacrosse.
So, Brian, let's talk about what we're looking forward to in this podcast.
Right.
I'll kind of start us off just as a whole. Dude, I'm trying every time you're talking, I'm watching you and then I'm looking up. So I'm sorry for everybody out there if you're getting upset about that. But like as a whole, just like you said, spreading the good word of the MCLA, I think is absolutely what I'm trying to do. And then also last year, 2 years ago, I did an interview with the MCLA guys or club lacrosse guys, or geez, varsity club lacrosse guys.
Wow.
Yeah, that was tough.
All over the place, man.
Yeah. And I had that, and I thought just for myself, that was an awesome experience. Being able to get in front of people for an interview, especially about club lacrosse, something that I'm super passionate about. I think that's kind of what I'm most excited for is giving those other kids opportunities like these Dayton fellas and others who will come along later. Just kind of get that exposure and just get their name out there. Their team, sometimes, it's hard to get. I played at Oregon, and a lot of people thought because we were in the PNCLL, all those teams are trash, which is partly true. But it's hard sometimes getting that exposure. And one thing I was doing last year was writing for the PNCLL, and I was just doing Players of the Week every week, which didn't seem like a lot, but it kind of was, especially when you're not getting paid for anything; it's just on your own time. But that was really gratifying because when I was in college, I would have loved for something like that. So I think this is a great opportunity for us, a great opportunity for guys in the MCLA, and great for the MCLA. So I think this is hopefully going to turn out to be something really good, something that people can follow every week. Hopefully, if we can keep up with that. So absolutely looking forward to this.
100%. I know one thing that you guys will listen to in the interview coming up is that a lot of kids kind of, if they're unsure about going D2 or D3 or D1, take a look at the MCLA. First and foremost, you get a great education at most of the locations that we're based in, but you can always just throw that degree away and become an actor in Los Angeles. That's not a part of the union. So I think I'm excited to obviously spread the word of MCLA, but also to, have something more casual, have something more fun, have some entertaining takes on lacrosse, and do some really cool interviews, talk to a lot of insightful people who are in the league, who are coaching the league. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yep, I agree with that. I'm gonna give some shout outs here, just to some guys who have kind of paved the road for us here. First one I got is to Jordan Harris from Virtually Varsity. When I was maybe freshman or sophomore, he was the only guy putting out anything for the MCLA outside of the MCLA. So that was really good content to see. And also his counterpart, Taylor Red from Red Rankings. Both those are BYU guys. I'm pretty sure played together. And then they were both putting up some good MCLA content. Taylor does more like statistics and rankings. So if you need some good content that's outside of varsity club lacrosse, go check those guys out. And then another one is a current coach, Panchito Ojeda from podcast Stall Warning. I think he was doing that a year or two ago. Maybe it was during COVID even. But he was doing an awesome job just having people on, listening to their experiences. And so appreciate Panchito. And then, of course, the biggest shout out to Tommy Chandler and Andrew Golden from Varsity Club Lacrosse. Those guys have been doing an amazing job putting out content, getting the good word of the MCLA out there. In basically any form that you can think of, they're doing it. And honestly, I don't know how they're doing it. I think they're doing a lot of hours on top of all the stuff they're already doing just to do an MCLA social media account, which is beyond me, but I'm very appreciative. I think that's like the 10th time I've said that this podcast already. But, I think they're doing an awesome job.
We get it. You're grateful.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's basically it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Dude, of course. All right, guys. Now with that, let's go into our second segment, the interview with the Dayton D2 champions, Matthew Cesario and Tucker Hoffmann. Okay, we now welcome on two very special guests, two players from the University of Dayton of the MCLA D2 national champions, Matthew Cesario and Tucker Hoffmann. How's it going, guys?
Doing great. I'm excited to be here.
Yep, doing great here as well.
Awesome. So first off, let's get to know a little bit more about you guys. Where are you guys from? And give us like a summary on how you guys got into lacrosse and your career, your positions, etc.
So I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I went to St. Xavier High School for 4 years. I started playing ball in first grade, actually, very young. And I started playing goalie in third grade because I didn't want to run. So, like every other goalie out there. And I stuck with it. Now I'm at Dayton, and I absolutely love it. I'm going into my senior year. So, yeah.
I started Matt Cesario from Glen Ellen, Illinois. I went to Glenbard West High School, played 4 years there. My team in high school went to the state championship twice my junior, senior year, but unfortunately we got third and fourth in like the tournament, never won. I started playing third or fourth grade, probably something like that. I was playing baseball. I was out in the outfield, and I just thought it was like the most boring thing ever. And I was like, I told my dad I didn't want to play anymore. And he's like, well, you got to do something. So I was like, oh, all my friends are playing lacrosse. And so then I started playing lacrosse. My first ever lacrosse tournament was Rip the Duck down in South Bend, Indiana.
I went to that.
And I played goalie there, and it's always sideways, pouring rain. And so I had a bad experience playing goalie there. So I switched to defense. Then I played defense all the way up through 8th grade. And then I switched to midi like freshman, sophomore year of high school. And then I've been playing midi ever since then.
Nice. Go through basically all the positions. That's awesome, Matt.
Yeah.
And Tucker, I definitely do not like to run. I guess I was kind of blessed with being a defensive midi in college. So I would just quickly run on defense and then try to get turnover and then quickly get off and be like, I'm good. I don't got skills. I just like to hit people, get in, get out. All right. So let's get down to it. You guys won a national championship. What is it like winning it?
I mean, I've got my special guest here, right? I've got the hardware in the building.
Okay.
For some reason, this is in my house in Louisville. It will be going back to Dayton, but winning a national championship is the stuff that every kid does in the backyard that they're dreaming about, right? Being a kid that is not from a lacrosse hotbed, Louisville is it's a dream come true for me and a lot of people here in the lacrosse community. And it's just a dream come true. I mean, there's nothing more to say, right?
Yeah, you're champions.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with Tucker. It's definitely something that was surreal, and I think a great story for our team specifically, and also Jake Meyer, who was our 5th year, who couldn't be here, but definitely something. I said it like right when we won. I was like, they need to get ESPN out here and make a 30 for 30 on Jake Meyer's career at Dayton. Starting out, I don't know if you know the story, but our 2018 season, so the year before I got there, they got to the national championship and they lost to St. Thomas, and then we got COVID and all that other stuff that happened to us. And then we came back lost twice to St. Thomas, and then finally beat them in Jake's last game of his career, which is kind of like a storybook ending for him.
There's a million different storylines too. I mean, I graduated high school in 2020, and the whole COVID world-ending event going on, right? But just the redemption of it all, even this season. I mean, we played a very freaking good St. Thomas team twice, lost by 4 the first time, lost by 1 in conferences, and we wanted that third shot, right? I actually filled out a bracket before I left for Texas, and I put us in the tournament together. I only got 3 games wrong, but that wasn't one of them. So
Nice. And Matt, so you recently just graduated, right? So basically graduating a champion, how does that feel like? Just going out and finishing and winning the whole thing?
Uh, it feels great, honestly, but I think I will be coming back. I have 2 more years of eligibility due to COVID, and I am going to grad school at Dayton for physical therapy. So I have another 3 years there. So my play this next coming year is tentative, depending on schoolwork wise, but I'm planning to finish out at least 2 more seasons there. So
That's awesome. Getting to continue on that storybook, story you guys are developing already. And Tucker, you're going into your senior season,
I
right? So
am.
are you guys gonna basically be back to back? Is that what you guys are trying to do? Or
Well, I did a whole lot of shit talking the second I stepped foot on campus, and it's finally come to fruition. But yeah, no, my goal is has not changed at all. It's to win another. Um, I am gonna be doing my senior year at Dayton, and it's a great school, but I am unfortunately probably gonna leave Dayton for graduate school. But I would like to continue playing. So this is kind of my cold call to anybody who's listening, if you need a goalie out there. So, but yes, my view is on the coming season, and making lightning strike twice. So
it's awesome. Now you guys talked about COVID, and basically I want to know is did you guys as a team still communicate during that time? I know with new people coming in, were they able to kind of join the team during that time, or was it just you guys all separated and didn't really communicate that much?
so my freshman year was 2020 as well, because I graduated high school, I going to college, right? And we did practice. And there was a weird limbo of, are we going to have a season in 21 or are we not? If we don't, do we get eligibility? All of these floating questions. But I was one of the few kids from my class. It was me and John Abarno, number 21, that showed up to practice without any guarantees, right? And I think that paid off for the better, because it was just a year of us adapting to the college game and honing our skills, so that when we did play in 22, uh, we'd be able to hang with the best of them, right? We didn't take any downtime.
yeah, we didn't practice after we all got sent home for COVID. 2020 came back. We practiced all year. We just didn't have coaches that whole time. They weren't the school that didn't allow them to come just because they weren't like full-time employees. So it was like weird rules. So we had to have basically just the captains run all the practices. And so it definitely wasn't as organized as it could have been, but it was definitely, we still got out and still got the sticks in our hands. So we didn't all break up. We still developed that team camaraderie.
Nice. And what is like the day-to-day life of an MCLA athlete? I know Matt, you said that you're going into grad school. Tucker, you said you're trying to potentially go into grad school too. Now, school on its own can be really tough. But now also being an MCLA athlete, like how'd you guys balance all of that?
Um,
Um,
oh,
well, for me, I did my best since I was the one who was scheduling our practices most of the time, I did my best to get practice times for the whole team that would work best so everyone could show up. Didn't always work out that way because the freshmen don't get very good. They get the last priority when they're choosing classes, but I tell everyone to choose their classes so that they can make all the practices. And if they miss one, then they miss one for class, like you're a student first. But I was always trying to schedule my classes around practice is how I did it for all 4 of my years.
Yeah, I definitely do the same thing. I think we really sort of hit our stride, especially this past season, with outside of practice, right? Taking that extra hour, hitting the wall, taking an extra gym session, stuff like that. We practice 3 to 4 times a week for 2 hours, and that's just not going to cut it when you're playing the best teams in the MCLA. It's just not. So taking the extra shots, taking the extra reps outside, hitting the wall, is I think how we really sort of came together and really developed over the season. The beginning of the season, Dayton Flyers was not a national championship team. But we got better because we worked our ass off for it. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have to sacrifice a lot. One, to be the best athlete that you can be. So I guess going back through this past season, what were your favorite and least favorite experiences you guys had? Besides winning the whole thing, of course.
Yeah.
My favorite, let's see. You can go, Tuck, if you have one off the top of your head.
I do. I most certainly do. I think the worst, I'll start with the worst. The worst was probably going to Grand Valley State and losing by 2, really by 1, because the play was strange. For some reason, I was outside of the goal and it was a mess. But that really sucked because, we beat them in my sophomore year in 22, and I was really hoping to get them again. But it just didn't pan out, and the weather was terrible because Grand Valley is in the middle of Michigan. But I think my best, most favorite moment was beating them in conferences, getting that second shot at a really talented team. But it was a different game. It was a different Dayton team. It was different conditions, and I think we really proved ourselves with that game and gave us a full head of steam to go into nationals.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I think my least favorite moment was definitely heading up to Grand Valley and having a third of our team not join us up there for undisclosed reasons, and losing both the games up north was not fun, especially because it was all crappy weather, like Tuck said. And then I think my favorite moment specifically from that Grand Valley game in conference was we got the ball back from them, and I took it against one of their short sticks, and I had a nice little dodge on them. And I remember, I think it was Western Michigan was on the sideline getting ready for their game next, and I kind of shook the defender pretty well, and I scored. And then the whole sideline went crazy. We ended up getting the ball back again, and then just ran out the time. So that was probably my favorite moment.
Yeah, that was the game winner.
Dude, that's awesome. I just think about in my past with Purdue, and I think of this meme where it's just eating with the guys, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, because outside of just practices and playing, they become some of your closest friends. So could you guys speak more about kind of the family-like aspects of being a part of a team in the MCLA?
We spend a lot of time on buses. Especially being in the UMLC, we got to go up to Minnesota every weekend, right? So spending 15 hours in a bus with 30 other guys, It's fun. I mean, I've learned a lot. I got help with homework from people I didn't expect to get help from, and I helped out with other people, and it builds a sense of real community. The one thing that is unique about Dayton too, is in Texas. In Texas, a lot of teams get hotels. They do the whole, rooming thing. We actually get a giant Airbnb, and we stay all under the same roof during Texas. So we're eating together. We're watching that film. We're thinking about the next game. We're breaking down the previous one. I can't tell you how many good conversations I had with players talking about the real technical side of lacrosse. And I feel like my understanding of what everyone else is having to deal with on the field is much deeper now because of that, because we stay in a very nice, huge Airbnb. So.
Yeah, I was also going to say the bus rides and then like the weekend spent together. It just feels like it kind of brings back memories of like eighth grade travel across, like freshman year travel across, like where you're traveling with your team and staying in hotels. I mean, back when I was like fifth or like sixth through eighth grade and all through high school, my parents would just bring me to the airport and send me off with the team. And it was just me, the other guys on my team, and the coaches. So it kind of makes me feel like that. And then also Dayton's a little unique because the frat scene isn't like huge at Dayton. Like there's some, and some of the guys on the team are in frats, but I never felt like the need to join a frat just because I felt the family community through the team. And like, I know I get a ton of questions, like whenever I'm talking to like my parents or family friends, like, oh, do you join a frat and everything? I'm like, oh no, but I'm on the lacrosse team. So like, those are like my brothers. So
Yeah, you instantly just get a whole new social life by joining a team, which is really awesome. And then, like you said, basically brothers. You guys go through so many hard times, but also so many great times together. And even with school, you guys help each other out, which is kind of one of the main reasons why we're there in the first place. All right. So, is there anything you guys think that the MCLA needs to change for the next coming years?
I mean, I think it's publicity. Publicity. I came from a high school where if you weren't playing D1 or you weren't playing, notable schools, you weren't really good. And that chip on my shoulder propelled me towards Dayton because I actually came and met with some players in my senior year right before COVID. And I told him, I was like, I'm going to come up here. We're going to win a national championship, and I'm going to prove all those people wrong. So now that it's come to fruition, I'm a national champion. I'm a tournament MVP. I'm an All-American. I can finally say, MCLA isn't just beer league. It's not a bunch of old dudes getting together on Saturday night playing some lacrosse. No, it's the term. I hate the term club because it undercuts how much time and effort and management goes into this thing that we all love to do, right? So yes, publicity. I feel as if the lacrosse community would love MCLA even more than they might already. But have the tournament on ESPN, like little stuff like that would be amazing.
yeah, I agree with Tucker. I think Varsity Club Lacrosse does a great job promoting everything and getting stuff out there. But like I've had so many conversations with people like, oh yeah, like so is that D2 or D1? I'm like, whoa, it's club, but it's like still super competitive and like we play really good competition. Like most of like a lot of the kids that we play against could have gone D1 or D2 or D3. Like it's it's just like still super competitive, like Tucker said.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even know Purdue had a lacrosse team until the end of my sophomore year. So, publicity and just knowing that the MCLA isn't just a beer league. It can be for some schools, and I bet it definitely is for some schools. But for the majority out there, it's a huge commitment, and people work really hard playing the sport that they love. And hopefully we can continue to spread awareness of how competitive the MCLA actually is. Now, another question for you guys is, do you guys do anything special with the alumni? Like I know for us at Purdue, there is an alumni day once every single year where alumni will come back and play against the current teams. We may or may not be a little hungover for that, but I mean, it's one of the coolest moments that I know that we have as a player when I was there and an alumni, just to see the sport grow. So do you guys do any fun alumni events?
We do. We do have an alumni game, and I believe that most of them would agree with you. They come and play a little bit hungover, um, but it's a great day when they come down, because some of the guys that play or came to play were like some of the best guys to ever come through Dayton, like best players, like best talent, and they all are just like, they'll really push us, even though it is an alumni game for fun.
I mean, the great thing about Dayton too is like we've got two of these, right? So we're playing against national champions. We're playing against, you know, our legacy that's been passed down to us, right? You know, one thing I'm really proud of is being the lowest seed ever to win it. And the only people that were lower than us previously was Dayton in 2015 against Concordia Irvine, and they won by 1. Game's on YouTube. You should check it out. I watched it for inspiration actually the night before. So yeah, just carrying on that tradition, that legacy of exceptional ball is fantastic, and I fully intend on passing it down to the next guy in the fall. And if you are coming to Dayton in the fall and you're listening, I'll see you then. So.
All right. That's awesome. Now, final question that we have for you guys. What is the best advice you would give a high schooler who's trying to decide on where to go and what things they need to work on?
For me personally, I think I know every coach ever says it every time they are leaving practice, everyone hit the wall, but it's really, you don't really notice how much it helps until you do it. I remember after we got our season canceled last year, I was very frustrated, and I hit the wall every single day for like the last 3 weeks before we were done with school, and I noticed a significant increase in my ball skills, and it wasn't even close, and that was just 3 weeks straight of just, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes a day. Didn't even have to be that long, but wall ball every day. And then also, if you're looking for picking schools based on lacrosse, there are a lot of people that are on the fence between going D3 or going club at like Dayton, for example. Like, a lot of the schools that have club teams are pretty competitive. So, and then there's a lot of teams that are D3 that kind of stink. No offense to them, but like our team probably could have beat a lot of the teams that some of these kids go to, that just because they say want to play D3 NCAA lacrosse. Like, as we were saying earlier, like, club is not a beer league.
I mean, I'm going to say the exact same thing. You know, in my personal experience in picking schools, I could have gone to some D3 or D2 team with 1,000 kids on campus, and it's in the middle of Indiana. You know, why the hell would you do that? I chose Dayton because I love the campus. I love the people that I met. The quality of my degree and the value of my degree that I'm getting is better than any of those D3 or D2 schools. And I'm still playing competitive ball, and I'm succeeding. I mean, it's worked out pretty well. So, go to the school that you think is best for you and is going to have the most value later down the line. Lacrosse isn't forever. So, you know, think past it, but still have a good career and have fun playing lacrosse and doing school.
Yeah, exactly. To piggyback off that, like, you could go to a D3 school and go 3-8 in your season and then not play for anything, or you could come to a place like Dayton or any of the other teams around here that were at the national championship and compete for a national championship trophy and a ring, which I'm very excited to receive, by the way.
It's in the mail.
I know.
All right, nice. Thanks, guys. Any last minute shout outs? Give us your socials so we can plug you. Let us know anything you guys
Well,
want to say.
I think Matt, we have to do this. I think we've got to shout out Coach V, Coach Ventrella. He was Coach of the Year in the MCLA, and he's a fantastic person, a fantastic coach. As cool as can be in the most awful situations. I think about when we were down 6-0 to Air Force, a very good Air Force team. But he was fine. He was cool. So Coach V, of course, I'd obviously like to shout out the seniors in Matt's class. Two of my defenders, JP Barrar and Rob, they're gone, unfortunately. So, but they helped me a tremendous amount between the pipes. And the parents, the Dayton parents really helped us out a ton throughout the season. And they are a force to be reckoned with. So thank you to all of them. And I could not be more grateful for my 2023, really. I mean, this has been great. So, and I'll do it again. It's no big deal.
Yeah, that's all basically what I was going to say. Second all those. Shout out specifically to Carson Morell's mom. That's how you say it, right?
Yep.
Pretty sure I got it right. She takes all the pictures for our team. So she's been doing that for the last 2 seasons. Got a lot of Instagram content off of her. So big shout out to her.
All right, everyone, that is it with our interview with the Dayton guys. Now we are going to transition into our third segment where we're going to talk a little bit about the news around the MCLA. So first we've got is Coastal Carolina winning the uniform bracket. Brian, you got any initial thoughts?
Yeah, Purdue was robbed, like completely. I believe they lost to Indiana, which is even worse. So I just know that it's completely rigged. But I mean, I have some friends.
With the varsity club lacrosse guys being
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
We basically, it's just I think there were some bots that were put in, but you
it's
have
just
to
a
ask
bunch
Elon.
of burner accounts. People are making burners
So many
and voting
burner
again.
accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the tracks on the Purdue helmet,
Mm-hmm.
those are pretty good.
Yeah, I know. Does America know? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, I have some friends that went to Coastal Carolina. It's a great party school. So
What club lacrosse team isn't
can't
a
be
great
too
party
mad.
school though? They're all club lacrosse teams.
Yeah,
Good party schools.
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I just say usually I'm voting for Oregon, all the time, which I did. But once I saw those Coastal Carolina uniforms for the first time, I was like, they are definitely winning. I don't remember seeing their uniforms last year. A little bit of the mesh blue ones, teal colored.
Teal.
But those other uniforms where they added like every single color was absolutely fire. So I was with that, but I will say Oregon losing to Bowling Green is absolutely nuts. I'm not sure how Bowling Green even made it to the final. If you're from Bowling Green, I'm so sorry, but the chrome orange is just
don't be sorry. This is we take strong takes here.
Yeah,
man.
we do. But I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. But I'm not wrong. The green or the orange chrome was just not enough. I needed something a little more. Apparently, everyone else loved it though. So congrats to you guys. But definitely congrats to Coastal Carolina. Those are sweet uniforms, no doubt. And then I've kind of got a little bit of some hot takes here up next, talking about MCLA Scholars and the Godekara Award. Honestly, I think it's just bullshit. I'm being honest. I think giving the Godekara to just kids who hit the quota of a certain academic GPA, I think is crazy. I think that is an awesome award if you're trying to make it just the smartest and best lacrosse player. But I think if you're trying to throw that off as a Tewaaraton for the MCLA is just a bit nuts. Shout out to those guys though. Absolutely, that's hard work. I'm not trying to take that back from you guys. But giving a single award to the best player in the MCLA, I think, is something that we should work towards. Because there are some guys throwing out the last year, the leading MCLA player with points per game was 6.9. And I think that kid should definitely be getting a chance to get the Godekara, but he just might not because of whatever situation. I think that goes for a lot of kids. So I think moving the Godekara or making up a new award for the best lacrosse player in the MCLA is something we need to look at. And then also MCLA scholars. While I also think that is a huge deal, it kind of takes away from All-Americans, feels like, because it's like a week after you post All-Americans and you post MCLA scholars, and it's like feels like these are like the best lacrosse players, but they might not be. So that's just kind of a little hot take I got.
Yeah, what would you name the new award
dude.
for best lacrosse player in the MCLA? Is it the Sam Criscola Award?
Hell no.
Probably, right?
Hell
no.
But we might have to do some research and find some MCLA player from 2010 who had 2 championships and 1,000 goals or something. So I don't know. Change it to anything. Maybe even keep the name. Just change the award. I'm good with anything.
Not a big academics guy. We can,
As you can
we
tell,
noticed.
not
we noticed.
huge. 5th year over here. Yeah.
All right. So for hot takes, I think for me, for the NFL, I know we're switching sports, but for the NFL, I believe the Washington Commanders, hopefully soon to be named Washington Red Wolves, will probably just only come second in the NFC East, but we will make the playoffs. Sam Howell is going to lead us to who knows what, but
second place in the NFC.
Second place in the NFC East. And probably playoffs. Calling it right now. Put your money down. Not me. I'm in California. But if you can, cash in that money.
I was not sure where you were going with that, but I think I could maybe get down with that.
Yeah.
But
most people should.
I thought you were about to say something a little different.
Super Bowl in 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. There we go. That's what it is. My hot take is I am arguably the biggest James Harden fan. That's the GOAT. So maybe that's a hot take right there in itself. But I think for this next year, James Harden is winning a championship with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Wow.
Put it down. Mark it here. It is happening. Big 3, Paul George, Kawhi, James Harden, even Russell Westbrook I'll throw in. How they're going to get it done. They're going to win. And then I won't have to hear about
James Harden has
can't win.
Great career in Big 3 teams.
Been on a few of them.
Yeah.
So
how'd they turn out?
Not great.
Yeah.
Not great, any of them.
Hey,
but
you can
there's
admit
still
it.
hope. He's got. Yeah, I'm not that delusional, but I'm slightly. So.
All right, guys, that is going to be it for us for hot takes. And now that leads to our conclusion of the episode. So that's all for this episode of the Varsity Club Lacrosse Podcast. If you guys want us to answer any questions, you can email us at varsityclublacrossepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll answer them later. Make sure to tune in next time for more exciting content about the world of club lacrosse. You can follow me on Instagram at Brian Plunkett Lopez. And Sam, where can people follow you at?
You can follow me at Sam_Chris Cola on Instagram. Trying to go a little Twitter, you can find me at Chris Cola Sam.
And before we finish the show, I want to give a huge shout out to my girlfriend Zoe Kilgren. She is releasing an EP on July 26th. It's going to be 4 songs, 4 incredible songs. I'm super proud of her. You guys can check her out at Zoe Kilgren on Spotify. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Appreciate you.